Retard.com, founder and CEO of Refuge Medical, on our way to SHOT Show this morning so that we can go continue to teach the gun industry that if you carry a firearm, you should also carry a tourniquet. That goes for you as well. You're late, you say. Well, I'm in a different time zone, I say. So, take that. Or we could just not do the brief at all. You could just read it on Patreon like everybody else. If you're new here, go ahead and subscribe, ring the little bell icon. If you're not new here, you know what to do. Share the show with somebody you love. Okay, good talk. You're late. As if you're entitled to what I have to say to you this morning. Please, more coffee is indicated. Shalom, everybody. Good morning to everybody in the chat. Those that appreciate the show, not those that are on an ego trip. Bear Independent Brief, 16 January 23. Russia has launched a wave of strikes against Ukraine. Critical infrastructure there has been hit, and now aggressive sanctions against Russia will come to pass in the next few weeks that will impact the global diesel market. On top of the fact that the European Union has banned most imports of Russian oil products, the EU, G7, and allies will mandate a price cap on Russian fuel exports that includes refined oil products. The EU is expected to need to fill a gap of 600,000 barrels a day of Russian diesel, and Russia will of course have to reroute or store those barrels or even cut production. In short, the global diesel market will be in a bit of an upheaval. The global diesel market will be in a bit of upheaval as countries with the resources available to fill the gap for the EU, think India, China, and the USA, struggle to keep up. This rearrangement of the global market will impact prices for everyone as the situation shifts. Why is this important? Diesel is the lifeblood running in the arteries of the supply chain. Trucks, trains, boats, and farm equipment all run on diesel. A global shift in availability is a shift in pricing, which impacts just about everything. So, as if your dollar wasn't weak enough, now things are going to cost more, including diesel itself, but cost of goods. Rolling coal, there you go, Spartano Negative. So, I've noticed in some parts of the country, diesel is, the availability is still there, but it's not stellar, and the costs are certainly up. As of 2022, the United States has already been exporting more diesel than in years past due to the invasion and related supply chain shrinkage. Europe's importation of U.S. diesel and gasoline has already hit a 2-year high, and it's estimated that the U.S. is set to become a net exporter of crude oil in 2023. Oh, there's a knock on my door. Hold on.
Hello.
Hey, it's Bug Out Bob.
Hey.
Why don't you pull a chair over?
I will.
We're doing the brief.
We're doing the brief.
Bob's here.
Do.
We're talking about the United States expected to become a net exporter of crude oil in 2023. Dude,
No choice.
yeah, because why not? Look, you're so buff. You just picked that chair up like it weighed nothing.
Yeah.
What do you lift or something, bro?
Sometimes.
Sometimes he lifts.
Hey guys, good morning, Bear Nation.
You're director of operations at that company that I can't talk about, but you can talk about.
I'm actually no longer director of operations.
Oh yeah?
That's I am the chief operations officer of that company, Refuge Medical, that you guys know and love and support, and we appreciate you because you're freaking the cat's pajamas. Sorry, I'm like 3 sips into my first cup of coffee.
I feel that.
Yeah.
I just started cup number 2. So, the United States is expected to become a net exporter of crude oil in 2023 due to the Russian invasion of Ukraine. And diesel availability is nephew's reticle. That's correct. Diesel availability is expected to suffer in 2023 because of that. Good morning, Liberty. So, all these things to consider. Peter Z. Hahn is of the opinion that with the war in Ukraine and the lack of attention that Russia is able to pay to their domestic crude oil production and the fact that they were dependent upon a lot of external inputs for their crude oil production, including technical expertise from companies that now will not work with them because of international sanctions. Good morning, Katie Lynn and all the blue wrenches in the chat. That he expects 5 million barrels per day of Russian crude to fall off the market this year. So things are probably going to get a little bit more expensive. Hopefully, he's of the opinion, and I don't know if I agree, but hopefully the idea is that the U.S. will be forced to ramp up domestic production of crude oil and diesel fuel here so that the markets can stay saturated in the United States. Otherwise, the peasants will revolt.
Well, the Middle East is selling to China now.
Mm-hmm.
That contract was agreed upon last week, and so that's no longer a resource that we can openly and freely tap into the same way that we have been doing for the past 20 years, 2 decades. So
yeah, but if we can get, and it's a tall order, but if we can get the blue-haired libtards to allow us to actually be energy independent, we have more oil than the Middle East does.
yeah, we'd be great.
Yeah.
It would be just fine.
Right now, we know that we have more than 300 years of projected consumption. Not just current consumption. Projected consumption.
So it's exponential.
In the United States. Correct, right? And so, and you get into the idea of green tech. Well, we want these EVs and, electric vehicles and solar panels and wind farms and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, yeah, well, a lot of that stuff is dependent upon the Chinese supply chain, who control roughly 80% of the inputs in order to make that stuff happen. China's falling apart right now, and we're probably going to go to war with them somewhere in the near future. I'd say within a week to 3 years, we'll be at...
You never know.
So,
which one is it?
Yeah, between, 160 weeks and 1 week, we'll probably be at war with China. So depending upon inputs from China in order to be able to build out this renewable energy concept that the blue-haired libtards have, probably not going to happen. So dependency upon domestic fuel, we're going to need it. We're going to see it. And you're also seeing more of a push amongst the blue hairs now. They've now tried to rebrand nuclear power as clean nuclear power.
It's the same thing.
It's the same nuclear power. Good morning, Kyle. So we'll see. But for a long time, certain political parties, certain factions within the United States have been hardcore on energy independence for the United States. And I think it's a security concern, because it's not just about appeasing the peasants. It's a security concern. If we're dependent upon all these foreign entities in order to be able to run our own country, that's an issue. And why? We have 300 years of projected consumption under the ground right now. Go get it. And it's not the oil production companies' issue. It's not on them.
No,
right?
They tried.
Yeah, for sure.
They got shut down.
Yep. And so, anyway, global diesel is falling off the market. So it's estimated that the U.S. is set to become a net exporter of crude oil in 2023. The landscape of the global market is shifting, which will create yet more waves across other markets, supply chains, and ultimately your wallet.
Yeah.
Good times. In other news, and this is going to be fun because BATFE has a booth at the place that we're going to.
Yeah.
Where are we going?
We're gonna go to SHOT Show. We're going deep into Las Vegas, the city of sin, Babylon itself, that old whore. And we're gonna go hang out there. And we're gonna try to teach people about first aid kits and why they're so important and be that light. But the ATF is also gonna be there, so we're gonna bully the shit out of the ATF agents.
I'm hoping everybody else has balls big enough to do the same.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have to get in line to bully him personally.
I hope so. Morning, Jay Whip. I thought you were headed to Davos. No, I was not invited to Davos.
Could you believe it?
If I was, I would be tempted to wear a suicide vest.
I didn't know you didn't get invited. I got invited,
You got?
yeah,
Wow.
yeah, but then I turned it down, obviously.
Tell Klaus I said what's up.
I will. I'll text him right now.
Also, I want to give a quick shout out to a super up and coming podcast that you can find on YouTube called Across the Table with Bob. and this is Bob over here. You should get back in the camera frame. This is Bob.
Oh my goodness.
No, you're doing a really good job.
Thanks,
And
bro.
so, if you're not subscribed to Across the Table with Bob, you can find it here on YouTube. You should go subscribe. You've got, how many subscribers do you have?
We're at 1,400 right now, almost 1,500.
And so you need to get, you've got your 1,000 subs that you need, and now you need 4,000 watch hours in order to unlock the next level of YouTube.
Yep.
So,
And we're getting close. We're making headway. You know, a lot of our content's long form, so it's pretty easy for us to get there.
what I love about it is you're interviewing us, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, it's
right
all
now.
our people.
Yep. So
It's our homies.
You've had Twitch, you've had Jody, you've had Cody, you've had Sarah, you've had Rod, you've got Dudley upcoming.
Yep, Dudley launches this week. After that, it's Heath or Tactically Torah.
And then you got a rock star.
I have a
coming.
rock star coming.
You got a couple of rock stars.
Yeah,
coming.
I actually have like 3 or 4 rock stars in the pipeline, but we did it this way for a reason. We strategically waited to have like the people with bigger channels that are super cool on camera. That we waited until it was down the road a little bit. So this is good.
I think it's biking prepper.
Yeah,
or
biking.
Biking.
It's triking preparedness.
Is that what it is?
It's a triking channel. It's all about tricycles. I remember now.
It's gonna be good.
Dad
So
sees this. He's like, "What?"
yeah, I did. Yet again, I did another dad impression on the Patreon video that I shot before this.
Nice.
I just can't help myself sometimes. Hello and welcome to Viking Preparedness. I am Pastor Joe Fox, talking fluid.
We'll see you out there.
There's 3 things that are going to get you: starvation, people behaving badly, and medical. Come out of her, my people, lest you partake of her sins and receive of her plagues. Love that guy.
That's a pretty good impression.
Yeah.
That's
Well, he's
pretty
my
good.
dad, so I
Yeah,
got
I mean
it.
that shit
Yeah.
checks.
In other news, Attorney General Merrick Garland recently announced a new ATF regulation saying, quote, "Keeping our communities safe from gun violence is among the department's highest priorities. How about we quit selling guns to Mexican cartels?"
Yeah, why don't we
Let's
start there?
Start with that, right? If we're going to keep our communities safe from gun violence. Continuing with his quote, almost a century ago, Congress determined that short-barreled rifles must be subject to heightened requirements. Today's rule makes clear that firearms manufacturers, dealers, and individuals cannot evade these important public safety protections simply by adding accessories to pistols that transform them into short-barreled rifles.
Gay.
End quote. Now, Ian McCollum at Forgotten Weapons. I'm a big fan, super fangirl of Shalom Palmetto, of Ian McCollum at Forgotten Weapons. Did a really good video yesterday about how short-barreled rifles shouldn't even be an NFA item.
It makes no sense.
And he went into a lot of really good reasoning, history, facts as to the concept of a short-barreled rifle, why it ended up on the NFA in the first place. And let's be honest, we all know, everybody who bought a Shorty 10.5 and put a pistol brace on it, you all knew, everybody knew you're building an SBR,
Yeah, well,
avoiding
yeah.
a tax stamp.
That's
right?
why we did it.
Yeah, because they were like, well, the ATF said this is good to go. I guess it's good to go. And then they changed their mind, right? So, yeah, somebody said in the comments, mass non-register. Yep, I agree. I think that's what's coming. So, continuing with the brief. The new rule requires a federal license to own firearms with stabilizing accessories like short-barreled rifles. This can be tracked back to Biden administration's response to the shooting in Boulder, Colorado, in which the gunman used a stabilizing brace in the attack that killed 10 people. But here's the thing. If he didn't use that, first of all, you can buy a lower that has a Magpul CTR stock or a mil-spec stock or whatever you want on the back, a Bravo company, whatever, and pin on a 10.5 or a 7-inch or an 11.3 or a 12.5, 14, whatever you want. You pin on 24-inch heavy barrel sniper system, whatever you want, right? I was non-registered before it was cool. Good job, Chris Spivey. So it doesn't matter, right? It's the functionality of a pistol brace as a shoulder stock in no way negates the fact that I can put whatever I want to on that buffer tube.
Oh yeah.
I can pin whatever upper I want to onto the lower. Like, it's stupid. So the idea that you're going to limit domestic violence and shootings that take place by outlawing pistol braces, it's a non-starter. It's
The fact that they're doing this with no correlated data of increased violence from pistol braces versus short-barreled rifles. There's actually good data that says both short-barreled rifles and pistols have less violence caused by them, because usually the people that own SBRs are super responsible because they went through the tax stamp process and they're not doing crime shit. Or pistols, they're pretty careful with what they're doing and they're not doing crime shit.
Zane Stern says, also, don't post your felonies on the internet. I agree with that.
Yeah. Also, don't send the government pictures. Don't do that. By the way, I don't know if you saw that in there, of what you have to do to register your SBR. It's like, send them a picture of you. Send them a picture of your SBR. Send them a picture of your mom, a strand of your hair.
Yeah.
It's no.
Mouth swab, vaccination status.
Don't text the government pics.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Yeah. So it's intellectually disingenuous to say that by banning pistol braces, we're going to limit violence. That's causation, correlation, not a thing. Stephen Dettelbach explained, ATF Director Stephen Dettelbach explained, quote, certain so-called stabilizing braces are designed to just attach to pistols, essentially converting them into short-barreled rifles to be fired from the shoulder, which the ATF has ruled previously was not a problem. Sorry, I injected that. Therefore, they must be treated in the same way under the statute, end quote. Although that was not your opinion, ATF, for years and years and years. While gun control advocates welcome the regulation, the NRA and Gun Owners of America, if you're going to support a Second Amendment group, I would much prefer you support GOA as compared to the NRA. The NRA seems to have become a bunch of shills, and I'm not interested in funding the board members' planes and, mistresses and all of that. I would much prefer you support GOA, Gun Owners of America. The Gun Owners of America are actually bringing lawsuits against the ATF and the federal government in support of the Second Amendment, whereas the NRA is just a lobby at this point.
The GOA gets after it.
Yeah. While gun control advocates welcome the regulation, the NRA and Gun Owners of America are vehemently opposed to it, saying it is a violation of constitutional rights. Agreed. And here's the thing, right? So we just saw this bump stock ban was overturned by the Supreme Court because the ATF did not have the legislative authority to ban it in the first place. Yet here we are a week later with the pistol braces. So my guess is, this is my guess, that on a long enough timeline, the pistol braces are a non-issue as well, because we've already set a Supreme Court precedent that the ATF cannot legislate.
Which they can't. They're not the legislative branch of our government, which is where laws are made.
Yep.
It makes zero sense that we let this happen.
Yeah, well, people have just taken it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how many times have we said at this channel, what we tolerate, they will embrace.
Yeah, 100%.
So stop taking it, right? How many times have I said, exercise your no muscle?
Yeah.
No.
People are like, oh, Bob, you got to get that registered. I'm like, no, I don't.
I don't have to do anything.
Ah.
Well, and here's the thing. It's a 10-year felony and a $250,000 fine per infraction, right? Is it? Just saying. Good morning, Solitaire Ranch. All right. GOA Director of Federal Affairs Aidan Johnston pointed out, quote, President Biden just initiated the largest federal gun registration scheme in our nation's history without even the passage of a new law, end quote. Idaho Senator Mike Crapo echoed the sentiment, saying, quote, the ATF's announced rule on pistol braces today is nothing short of a massive executive branch imposed gun registration and confiscation scheme. This is an unacceptable attack on the Second Amendment and law-abiding citizens, end quote. To be clear, the ATF is not banning pistol braces, but it is redefining terms pertaining to the conversion of pistols into, quote, short-barreled rifles, meaning those who own qualifying items must register them, turn them in, or destroy them. It's estimated that there are between 10 and 40 million qualifying braces in the U.S. at this time.
The logistics of that.
So it takes what? 8 months on average to get your paperwork back for a
Dude,
suppressor.
We couldn't get a check back through Nix. They couldn't approve a 4473 in 2020.
Right. And so now we're just going to go ahead and register 10 to 40 million items with the ATF. And you, by the way, you have a year, I think it is. No, 6 months to get this done, right? Or now you're in possession of, if you possess the stock, or the brace rather, but it's not on a firearm, it has to be registered. If it's on a firearm, that firearm has to be registered as a short-barreled rifle. And you have a 6-month grace period to do this, or you're now a federal felon, according to the ATF, which is not a legislative authority, not a legislative body. Which, again, the bump stock ban, which, by the way, everybody's favorite orange man, 120 days, thank you. Everybody's favorite orange man is the one who was in support of banning the bump stocks in the first place. So be careful who you put up on a pedestal.
That dude sucked too. That dude can get it also.
So the thing for me is, because of the way my brain works, is because pistol braces go off and on buffer tubes that fast, so do stocks. How many people say, therefore, all right, I'm going to take my pistol brace off. Got it. It's on a shelf, or in a safe or whatever. Sounds good. Now that's, not an SBR. Throw a Magpul CTR stock on that thing. Now it's an SBR. And also, FU, I'm definitely not registering it now.
Yeah.
Because if I'm going to be a felon either way, why wouldn't I just put a stock on this thing?
Also,
because the stock works better.
Quick discussion for you, YouTube. The penalty for having an SBR is the same penalty as having an unregistered machine gun.
Yeah.
Bye. The more you know with Bob.
So the thing that jumps out to me here is that really the NFA should be abolished.
Yeah, it
right?
should.
And Ian McCollum at Forgotten Weapons did an excellent video on this. Ian pointed out that when the U.S. surplused millions of M1 carbines after World War II, the U.S. government violated the NFA because at the time, a short-barreled rifle was anything with a barrel less than 18 inches. Well, the M1 carbine has a 16.25-inch barrel. And the government sold millions of them,
Yep.
made two citizens, and made people felons overnight by selling them these things. And so the idea the idea that a short-barreled rifle is more concealable and therefore more dangerous than a rifle, but pistols aren't regulated under the NFA. I can and do conceal a pistol every day.
Yep.
I don't conceal SBRs, right? So
Not every day.
Yep. Tactus Squirrel said, 1/3 of an inch hole right above the safety selector. Here we come. I wouldn't do that. That's definitely a good way to get in trouble with the ATF.
Yeah, that's illegal.
So all this to say, we are on our way to SHOT Show. And the ATF is going to have a booth there. And I'm super curious to see two things. The first is, how many manufacturers are going to have blank spots on their walls at their booths where things with pistol braces would have hung? How many manufacturers have balls that will still be displaying pistol braces?
You say, fuck you.
Right?
I'm sorry, I'm so excited to get to talk to an ATF agent, not on my doorstep.
And then I also really want to see what the industry response to the ATF is at this booth. I feel like it's going to be a mix. I feel like some people are going to be like, hey man, absolutely not. Kiss my hairy white ass. You're not a legislative authority. You don't get to issue, laws via edict and credo. That's not how this representative republic was set up. You are an unlawful organization. Go focus on actual crimes, right? Go focus on actual crimes. Do your job. And
Just
then
do a job. Any job.
And then I think there's also going to be the big manufacturers that are just going to bend over and take it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Live stream the ATF confrontation. Maybe. That's not a bad idea. So, now, the reason, and that's a great question. Who enforces this? Because the ATF has already said they will not expend the money, the resources, the manpower, the money to go and collect all these pistol braces. So if they're not willing to go collect all of them because they're not that dangerous, but also their argument is they're super dangerous, right? Again, it is disingenuous.
They're killing everyone, but give me $200 and you can keep them. But if you don't give me $200, I'm also not going to come get them. But they're killing everyone.
And also, if I catch you, even though I'm not coming to catch you, but if I catch you with one, you're going to go to federal prison for 10 years and pay $250,000 per infraction. Right? And so the whole thing is just absolutely stupid. There's every gun channel on the internet has been talking about this lately in the last few days. A lot of people have posited that this is their first step towards confiscation across the country.
Yeah, we talked about that.
I don't think so, because I don't think it's possible. Who's coming to get them?
Yeah.
Now, maybe you live in Boston, New York City, LA, Dallas, possible. Who's coming to get them? Not where we live.
Dude, I make the argument that if people are saying that confiscation is going to happen, they have never worked with any logistics department ever. Because the logistics behind that operation is something not that's unfathomable. It's just the government's not capable of it. Like, they're too incompetent. And that's not me, like, discrediting my enemy or underestimating my enemy. It's looking at it realistically and saying there's no way they can confiscate every firearm. There's 3.1 firearms for every person in the United States? Are you kidding me? They don't have the manpower for that.
Yep. Over 1 billion firearms in the United States. And what are you going to do with them afterwards? Right? Like, they would need F-15s. Yeah, and maybe. And then the other thing, right? This, again, comes back to, like, who's your sheriff? You like your sheriff? You should like your sheriff. You should have a good sheriff. Years ago, little anecdotal story for you. We'll end the brief with this. Me and some of my guys were doing a ruck on one of the county roads near my house. And so we're us. There's maybe a dozen of us. We got rucksacks on, BDUs, carrying our rifles. And somebody called into the sheriff's department and said, there's a bunch of men with machine guns. Now, granted, we didn't have machine guns. We had ARs. We don't have machine guns. But they said, there's a bunch of men with machine guns walking down the road. You need to come out here and do something about it. And the sheriff's deputy's response was, that ain't none of my effing business. Ain't none of your effing business. And those sounds like the kind of people that you need to be friends with. And hung up the phone. Eastern Oklahoma for the win, right? So, okay, they're going to confiscate weapons everywhere. How? With the sheriff's department? You have a 4 Constitution law enforcement agency in your county? I would hope so. And when you should know who they are, and they should know who you are, and you should have the best relationship possible. It matters. It matters a lot. And it gets back to the ethos of the place that you live as well. I got pulled over the other night, a couple towns away from where I live. And a cop walks up to the car, and I've got my driver's license, my concealed carry permit, and the paperwork on this car, which is a rental car, which we're driving to Vegas. I got it in my hand. I go to hand it to the officer. And he says, I don't need to see any of that. I said, okay, what's up? He goes, man, you ain't got no taillights and it's dark. Wherever you're going, you need to get there because you're hard to see right now. And I was like, it's a brand new car. But there's literally, counted them yesterday, 43 buttons on the dashboard on this car. It's got daytime running lights. When I left, it was daylight. When I got home, it wasn't. I thought the lights were on. Turned the little switch, taillights came on and goes, you're good. You have a blessed evening. You too, bro. Thank you so much. You need anything, holler. He's like, all right, go on, get out of here. Dude didn't even look at my driver's license. Okay? So a lot of people like to jump all over law enforcement and be like, the weaponization, militarization of law enforcement in this country is a major issue across and yeah, it is in some places, high population density areas.
For sure.
It ain't where we live. Praise Yah. And so, and that's to illustrate, A, the quality of life that you get when you don't live in a big city, And B, I think the window of opportunity to strategically relocate is closing because the efficacy of your dollar diminishes every day. And they ain't making any more land. So that's the brief for today. We could talk a little bit about how to support the show. If you're one of those people that jumps off when it's time to support the show, have a blessed day. Beat feet, skedaddle, get out of here. Shalom. If you're new here, go ahead and subscribe. Ring the little bell icon. If you're not new here, you know what to do. Share the show with somebody you love.
Share the show.
Now, at refugemedical.com, Bearfax are back in stock and shipping fast. They're hard to keep in stock because it's the best first aid kit on the planet. 61 lives saved to date with Refuge medical equipment, the predominant number of which have been with Bearfax, the Bear first aid kit. They're made in America, they're guaranteed forever. They're on 4 continents with the U.S. Armed Forces electively, thousands of law enforcement officers, thousands of civilians. There's not a better first aid kit. And it's a family heirloom. It's guaranteed forever. You break it, I'll replace it at no cost to you. I would just like to know, how did it fail, so that we can make sure that we correct the product so that it doesn't fail like that again. And that's why we're on the Bearfax 3.0, because we had the 1, the 1.5, the 2, the 2.5, and now the 3, right? And so we're on the 5th iteration of this kit, making it better and better and better every time. They're hard to keep in stock. They are in stock today at refugemedical.com. Your promo code is BearNation for free shipping. Get your free shipping on everything in the store. Everything is HSA and FSA eligible. If you have any questions, you can email sales@refugemedical.com. We've got a team of people who build kits and ship stuff and all that. They're in the office right now making stuff happen for you. You can use the live chat feature at the website.
Yep.
And so, depending on who you are and what you do for a living, we have, I think it's 19 different kits.
Yep. Yeah, we have 19 different kits, and then we have different iterations of different colors for different people, depending on what you want to do. Some people want just, standard red first aid kit. Sometimes you might be a law enforcement officer, like we were just talking about, and you need a different color. A lot of people have been asking about ARCs. We have ARCs coming in this week in multicam. I know that one was being asked about a lot, as well as red. We got a new supplier or new manufacturer for our ARCs, and he finished it up. It looks even better. We improved the red and improved the shape on a couple of other ones. So those should be back in stock this week. You guys should have those for it.
I also want to give you guys and girls a sneak peek at something that we've been working on for, how long we've been working on this?
7 months, 6 months?
7 months, okay?
A minute.
Yeah, a minute. Strategic relationship. There's a guy you might have heard of. His name's Jocko Willink, former Navy SEAL. Wrote a book called Extreme Ownership, owns a company called Echelon Front, has another company called Jocko Fuel, and is partnered at another company called Origin Maine.
Yeah.
Certified badass. Origin Maine produces their own camouflage for their hunt line. And Refuge Medical will be making these. Look at that. With their camo.
So a lot of you guys watching this right now, the cool thing about this camo is that it is sourced in the U.S., it is woven in the U.S., it is printed in the U.S., and then it is cut, sewn, from beginning to finish. This is U.S. made.
Every stitch of this thread.
Like, it's...
all of it. Look at that.
That's not berry compliant. That's very berry compliant. Like, I'll tell you that.
So, we're super proud of these. It's been half a year or more getting to this point, prototyping, developing. We're doing 3 kits with Origin. They're going to be absolutely awesome. And this is an SOB. They're not available. I'd love a wallet made of that. Take a note.
Dude, note taken.
We're super proud of these. They're not available yet, but they will be. So we have, but it illustrates the point. Our kits are in red, coyote, multicam, gray, black, ranger green, OD green. We had some multicam black. Those are limited runs. Woodland, limited run. Like I said, red with reflective. So if you're a soccer mom, a forklift driver, a CPA, an attorney, an over-the-road truck driver, an overlander in your four-wheel drive Jeep, red with reflective is probably what you want. Pre-orders will be coming, yes. We're not there yet. We're in the process of having a large quantity of this material being shipped to us right now so that we can start producing this. But we will be showing this to people at SHOT Show. And it illustrates, yeah, we do custom stuff. And this is an SOB in Origin Hunt camo pattern. And these are going to be awesome. I don't think we'll be able to keep them in stock, especially, oh, we got to read that. Had an accidental discharge on Christmas. With your video, I was able to use a tourniquet and get myself to the hospital. Thank you, Bear. Did you hit yourself? It sounds like it. That's life. Praise Yah, you're still here. Hey, please email us the details of that to admin@refugemedical.com. If you saved a life, and I'm glad you're still here. If you saved a life, we want to know about it. And also, we want to get you another tourniquet. Yeah, for sure. Because you used it. For sure. And that's another thing to point out. Like, these kits are designed to save lives. And if you use this kit to save a life, we will replace whatever you use at no cost to you forever. We have people that have used their kits to save not one, not two, but 3 lives. And we replenish them every time. And usually, but like the third time, it was tread on this, the third time, yeah. I was like, send him everything. That's just like, he's one of the reasons that we will always forever put chest seals inside of a workplace first aid kit. Yep. No matter what anyone said, because there's been 2 different medical professionals say you don't need chest seals inside that kit. And I'm like, yes, I agree with you 99.5% of the time. But I personally know of somebody who used one of our kits and used the chest seals on a job site and saved a life. Yep. So refugemedical.com. Your promo code is Bear Nation for free shipping on everything in the store. We make all of our stuff here in America. We make it with American hands, American products, the best components you can get. We guarantee our stuff forever against product failure, right? We replenish whatever you use forever. Like I said, we've had one person who's used their kit 3 times. Praise Yah, 3 times to save a life. So we're all about that, right? So check that out, refugemedical.com. There are 31 classes up at refugetraining.com right now. So come to class, learn how to use your kit. It is an absolutely transformative experience. You come to class as an innocent bystander and you leave as a capable first responder. Fact. And a lot of people ask, well, I'm a doctor, I'm an EMT, I'm a paramedic, I was 18 Delta. Special Forces medic, right? We've had those people in our classes. Combat lifesaver. They're like, do I really need to take your class? I've already had all this other training. Right. Then they come to class and they're like, hot damn, I learned so much. And in many cases, I relearned so much stuff that I had forgotten. Reps and sets. And the other thing that people are unaware of, we just answered this question on a Patreon live stream on the road yesterday. If you were trained 20 years ago, the medicine has changed. We update our curriculum regularly, all the time. Every time new directives come out from the Committee on Combat Casualty Care, COTC, Tactical Combat Casualty Care, every time their new directives come out, every time there's a new article in Journal of Special Operations Medicine, every time we update our curriculum, so it's the most current information. We've still got people out there teaching that tourniquets are life over limb, when not a single limb has been lost, with 19,000 applications of this tourniquet, Cat Gen 7 tourniquet, in the global war on terror. People lost limbs due to the injuries that required the application of a tourniquet in the first place, but not because of the tourniquet. But there's still people out there that are teaching information that's 20 years old and is wrong. Versus us, we update constantly, okay? So, come to class, learn, all right? refugetraining.com. Lastly, but certainly not least, Grindstone Ministries. If you'd like to support our ongoing ministry work, disaster relief and the rescue and restoration of juvenile human trafficking survivors, you can hit grindstoneministries.com. Learn more about us there, support us there. There's online giving. You can set it up for recurring, which would be cool. You know, if you want to give X amount per month, you know, and $1, $5 is welcome and appreciated. We are 100% supported by y'all, the Bear Nation. We've never taken a dime from any government entity, organization, foundation, none of that. We are responsible to the Most High, and we are equipped by you. We answer to nobody but the Creator of the universe and y'all. You are stakeholders in this, and we don't get to do what we do without you. So grindstoneministries.com is where you can plug in there. And there's links to all of this in the description down below. You can also find a shirt from our brother Saw at Survival Applications and Weapons System. The Facts Not Feelings shirt. Portion of the proceeds go to help us build Caleb House, which is our restoration facility for kids who have been trafficked. And then there's also Caleb House swag, hoodies, t-shirts, long sleeve shirts, and they are expensive, but so is anti-human trafficking. So you can find all that, links in the description for all of that. And that's what we got going on. We are headed to SHOT Show. We're going to go shake hands, kiss babies, talk to people about medical kits. I'm also going to be talking to people a lot about Caleb House to help fundraise. It would be super cool to me if Grindstone became the preeminent YouTube supported from all these other influencers ministry. We are a 501c3. We're nationally registered. I don't have a plane. I'm not trying to preach the word in Zimbabwe. We're just trying to do good works, and we are 100% accountable to the Father and to y'all, the stakeholders here. I would love to get other big influencers, big channels involved, and there are many. Angry Prepper shouts us out. Big Family Homestead shouts us out. Alaska
Tim Pool
Prepper.
shouted us out.
Tim Pool shouted us out. Alaska Prepper shouts us out, and there are many others. Viking Preparedness shouts us out. Rex Saw, they shout us out, right? So there are many other channels that support Grindstone, but I would love it if the YouTube community in general, Grindstone became the go-to for people who are in our space, the prepper space, the firearms space. Jared at Guns and Gadgets has shouted us out, right? But we don't get to do what we do without y'all supporting us, and that very much so looks like prayer. Very much so looks like y'all showing up on deployments with us when we go and do storm relief. Very much so looks like the donations of physical supplies. We broke the National Guard in Kentucky. Y'all broke the National Guard in Kentucky.
That's real. That happened.
It's super real. Magic Prepper, thank you. Yes, Magic Prepper shouts us out. And so there's something going on here in the best way possible, and we don't get to do what we do without your support. All that can be found at grindstoneministries.com. Shout out to the patrons, economic engine of the Bear Nation. I was talking about books for getting shit done this morning on Patreon. I'll link in the description. And with that, we are going to go into the heart of Babylon, armed with burlap potato sacks to put on top of the whores, so that we can go talk to people about first aid kits, anti-human trafficking, and step into whatever opportunities the Creator presents us with, and go be the light. If I can have one conversation with one person about this trip would have been worth it.
Amen, brother.
So, appreciate y'all. Y'all have a blessed day. Thank you for your support. Thank you for supporting this show. I love each and every one of y'all. Shalom.
Shalom.